اختي عملت لي بلوك على تيك توك لانها عامله دايت وما فيها تقاوم منظر البينك باستا اللي بعمله، ولانها عملت لي بلوك انا رح اروح عندها واخذ لها اكبر صحن بينك باستا واخرب لها الدايت تبعها. فاول شيء قلبت البصل والثوم والمشروم بالزبده وزيت الزيتون وملحتهم وبهرتهم، واهم شيء الريحان والبابريكا وبودره الثوم، وبعدين كريمه الطبخ كامله الدسم وجبن كسات، ورح ازيد جبنه الموتزاريلا. هي اطيب طريقه للبينك باستا وما في اطيب من هيك. بحط صلصه طماطم وبارميزان تشيز، وشوفوا ما احلى لونها كيف صار. وكنت سالقه الباستا، حطيت الباستا عليها وراح ازود موتزاريلا تشيز، وراح اخدها عند اختي ميمي ونشوف شو راح تحكي.
This week's meal prep cost me $2.60 a meal. I always like to remind myself that eating healthy is often a privilege and not a choice, which is why I like to share my tips on how to eat healthy on a budget. Meal prepping might not be for you, but how awesome is it that you can consider yourself lucky to eat something different every day? Meal prepping not only is a way to help me combat my obesity, but it is also one of the many ways that led me to financial freedom. After I was seeing how much money I was saving each week, I turned it into a game and continued to meal prep. If you're struggling financially and trying to lose weight, it is possible to do so on a budget. It just takes practice and time. Like and follow for more tips and tricks.
A lot of people think this is the best lasagna in New York City. Freshly boiled house-made lasagna sheets get an ice bath, rinsed, and laid down on a buttered pan. On goes their bolognese ragu, which gets spread all over, a healthy drizzle of bechamel, and Parmesan cheese. Another lasagna sheet, more bolognese ragu, more bechamel, more Parmesan cheese. They repeat this process 2 more times. I could watch them make this lasagna all day long. Notice how they aren't shy with any of the ingredients whatsoever. And once they finish off this last layer, they rinse and lay down that last lasagna sheet, tuck in the sides, cover it with plastic wrap and foil, then bake it in the oven until it looks like this. After it cools, they slice it up, take out a square, admire those beautiful layers, and it goes in a pan with tomato sauce, heavy cream, and Parmesan cheese, and cooked in the oven to look like this. The lasagna gets plated, they pour that creamy tomato sauce on there, hit it with Parmesan cheese, chives, and a drizzle of pesto. This is the lasagna della nonna from Marks Off Madison in New York City's Flatiron District.
Guys, I promise if you make these for a party, they're gonna be a hit, because I made them for my daughter's birthday party and they was gone like the wind. Oh my God, these are so fire and they're easy to make. Well, to me. Hopefully they're just as easy to make for you. But anyways, let me show you guys how to make it, okay? These are called piononos. I don't know who came up with the name, but the technique is genius. It's like a pastelón, which is a Puerto Rican lasagna, but in the form of a cupcake. So they're just so much more easier to make. and eat. So what you'll do is you'll grab a sweet plantain, okay, and you'll cut it vertically, and then you're gonna fry it 2 to 3 minutes on each side, okay? Then you're gonna put some butter on your cupcake pan, and look how they just perfectly fit inside the cupcake pan. Like, how the fuck? You're gonna grab some egg and you're gonna put it at the bottom. The egg is gonna act like the glue. It's gonna hold everything together, okay? Now I'm using ground turkey. You could use ground beef, and then I'm using shredded mozzarella. You could use, I don't know, pepper jack if you want, or some other freaking cheese, whatever. But it's gonna be egg, meat, cheese, meat, and then you're gonna put some more egg at the top. I put it in the oven at 350 for 15 minutes. Took it out, put some more cheese on top because why not? And then I cooked it for another like 7 minutes until it was pretty much golden brown. But y'all, put a little bit of chives on top and you got yourself an hors d'oeuvre, okay? These are cute. Oh my, you gotta make them.
Here's how to make an amazing chocolate cake in the microwave, and you don't even need any eggs. Just whisk together plain flour, granulated sugar, cocoa powder and baking powder until combined. Then add melted butter and warm water and whisk until smooth. Pour it into a microwavable dish, then microwave on medium, checking it with 1 minute to go. Then let it cool fully in the dish. Melt dark chocolate and double cream in the microwave and stir gently until smooth. Then pour it over the cooled cake and smooth it out to the edges. You could also top it with Nutella or any butter.
So this is the biggest mistake that I notice when I see videos of people struggling to make spring rolls. They take the rice paper and dip it into water over and over until it becomes pliant, but then it's all floppy and it's hard to put in the filling. So all you really need to do is get the whole sheet wet once. Then you add in your fillings, and by the time you're done, the rice paper is pliant enough for you to roll. If it's still not as soft as you would like it, just wait a couple of minutes and it's good to go.
The other day, somebody left me a comment asking why my recipes are so unhealthy if I studied nutrition. The answer is pretty simple. Eating yummy food makes me happy. And honestly, seeing how 2020 has been going, I don't know how much time we have left. I'm really not trying to make this year any worse by eating rabbit food, and you shouldn't either, so come to Food TikTok and we'll cook all these delicious dishes together. The other day, I was just scrolling through TikTok and I heard the wildest audio. A lady said her grandmother taught her at a very young age that a woman's place is in the kitchen. And you know what? I couldn't agree with her statement more. It's pretty simple. A girl's gotta eat. And when 75% of your happiness comes from food, you're going to be in the kitchen eating snacks, or you're going to be cooking. Therefore, if you eat food, you belong in the kitchen. Cooking is a life skill everyone should have, so come over to Food TikTok to cook with me and impress yourself. I bet you didn't know that Subway used to put a chemical found in yoga mats in their bread to make it stretchy. Or that Taco Bell's meat is actually more oats and fillers than real meat. And that McDonald's fries can basically sit out there for years and never even rot.
Now, I don't say all of this to scare you, but instead to inspire you to come over to Restaurant Remake TikTok. We're making all your favorites, and yes, it's even better. So follow along and drop a comment with what you want to see next.
Some of you guys are still a little bewildered by the fact that everything in my Making Meatless series is in fact meatless. So let's do a little recap of everything I've made and what the primary meat substitute for each dish was. So first up is Nashville chicken hot tenders, and I used oyster mushrooms to create this. It's one of my favorite ingredients. You're gonna see it throughout the video. And then here I used rice paper and tofu to recreate Gordon Ramsay's infamous vegan bacon recipe. And then I used those same ingredients to make this recipe. I never called this anything, and I'm not sure what to call it, but it's just covered in a teriyaki sauce and stuffed with seasoned tofu. And then I made this fried chicken dupe using my maitake mushrooms. I think that they're almost better than oyster mushrooms. I can't decide which one I like more. And next up is this buffalo burger. I tried to recreate something like a chicken patty using tofu and the freezer method, and it turned out really well. And then here, of course, is my birria taco recipe. I made this a couple times on my page, and I used to use just regular mushrooms, but now I use king oyster mushrooms and I shred them up, and it has a way better texture. And then here I made vegan calamari also using king oyster mushrooms. I sliced them up and then cut the centers out. And finally, I did a wing platter. I battered everything up as I usually do, covered it in a variety of different sauces like buffalo and barbecue, and again used oyster mushrooms for this. Okay, so one of my most popular requests for my Making Meatless series has been making seitan, which is basically taking flour and water, kneading it into a dough, and then washing out all of the starch from the flour so only the gluten is left over. And if you do it right, which I didn't do here, you should be able to get a shredded chicken-like texture, because the only thing that's gonna be left over is the gluten, so it's gonna have that meat-like texture. This was only my first attempt, so I think I didn't end up washing out enough of the starch, so the texture ended up being a little bit more like a kebab or like a meat patty or something rather than shredded chicken. So come back for part 2 and I'll try again.
Baby, work it.
I might be a little biased, but my mom's kimchi is literally the best kimchi I've ever had. It's not too strong, it's well aged, and then give it a good rinse. Sprinkle on some coarse sea salt, making sure to get in between all those layers. Make a quick brine, pour it all over the cabbages, and set aside for 2 to 3 hours. For the paste, combine Asian pear, onion, garlic, ginger, fish sauce, plum extract, and salted shrimp. Blend until smooth, and then add gochugaru and chopped scallions. Mix well and set aside for the flavors to marinate. Back to the cabbages, rinse and drain to get all the excess water out. Get your ajima gloves ready to start spreading the paste all over the cabbages, getting between every layer. Transfer to an airtight container, set at room temp for 1 to 2 days, and then transfer to the fridge. And in a few days, you'll have something that looks like this.
Te doy lo que tú quieras, bailame en el tubo. Suave. Yo te doy lo que tú quieras, bailame en el tubo.